Today we're in Sainte-Mère-Église in Normandy in France, just near the spot where Dick Winters landed on D-Day. And today we're going to follow in his footsteps on that day of days. Now, you guys who are familiar with the channel will know we've talked a lot about Band of Brothers on this channel and done a few videos related to Easy Company of Band of Brothers, and so I thought it would be a cool video to follow in the footsteps of Dick Winters on D-Day. Now, we're in Sainte-Mère-Église, and this is where D-Day started for Dick Winters. He landed actually just near the spot where I am now. So where I'm stood, I'm just on the outskirts of Sainte-Mère-Église. The actual kind of village or town of Sainte-Mère-Église is in this direction behind us. And where we are, just outside of town, this spot over here behind me, kind of along with this hedgerow goes up, and there's a tree down here. It's believed, and when I say believed, we don't necessarily know the exact spot, but based on his memoirs and the information I've been able to gather, somewhere around this spot right here is where Dick Winters parachuted into Normandy. Now, that would have been a little after 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, when he landed into the village here, he had lost his gear, as was the case with a lot of guys as they were coming in. You've got to imagine these guys were getting thrown all around the place, and the kind of jerk and the pullback that was coming off when their chutes opened. A lot of them lost their gear, dropped their gear, straps broke and stuff like that. So when he landed here, he didn't actually have his gear, and he did not have a weapon. Now, it's worth mentioning that this isn't where Dick Winters was supposed to have landed, as was the case all over Normandy. Paratroopers were getting misdropped all over the place, and it's not surprising when you think of the carnage that was going on. Easy Company was supposed to be dropped a little bit west of the village of Sainte-Marie-du-Mont, and so when Dick Winters landed here, he knew his first task was to get to that spot, get to his objective. He started to advance forwards towards the village just here, and very quickly a German machine gun opened up just around this corner here, kind of where the underpass comes through from the flyover. So instead he turned back and decided that he would have to start working his way around the edge of the village here. It wouldn't be long before he'd run into a couple of the other Easy Company guys like Carwood Lipton and Bill Garnier. So we've just moved a short distance outside of Sainte-Mère-Église. Now, you might remember in Band of Brothers, famous scene where they're trying to find their way towards Sainte-Marie-du-Mont, and they run into a German convoy. It's the tunnel, and they're kind of above it, and they ambush them, and they jump out, and while Bill Garnier machine guns everyone. Well, that event actually happened, but it happened slightly differently to the way it was depicted in the series. For a start, it didn't happen in a tunnel. It happened right here. This is a junction in the middle of the countryside, just outside Sainte-Mère-Église. And along this road behind me is where the German convoy was advancing. And it was right here at this junction where they ambushed it. Now, the men involved in that ambush varied slightly from the Band of Brothers version of it as well. Winters and Garnier and those guys, they were there, but in reality they were part of a larger group of about 50 men. They were actually at the rear of that group. That was a group from the 502nd, led by Colonel Robert Cole, and they were advancing through here. So Winters and Garnier were involved in that ambush right here on this junction, but not quite in the way it was depicted in Band of Brothers. But hey, I'm okay with that. They have to change some things for dramatic effect, and it helped us tell the story and learn the story of that real life event that happened right here. So from here, Winters carried on towards Sainte-Marie-du-Mont to try to get to his objective. Let's follow in his footsteps and head that way now. So I've driven down a bit further now from where I was to a place called Le Grand Chemin. think I've said that right, just on the outskirts of Sainte-Marie-du-Mont. And this is where Winters and that little group of guys had walked to. And it's quite far, by the way. I mean, I've driven 10 minutes from where I was just now, and we're a good sort of 20 minutes drive from Sainte-Marie-Glisse. So those guys walked some distance overnight on D-Day. Anyway, they got here. They probably got a little rest, but not very much, because after just a short time, Winters was called up front. At this stage, Thomas Meehan was missing. Of course, the guys here didn't realise that he had been killed in the plane crash, and so although it was going to end up being permanent, Winters was at least temporarily in charge of Easy Company. So he was called up front here to let him know about a problem they had just up the road. There were some guns in a place now famous called Brecourt Manor, and he was called up front to this building right here behind me. This is the temporary command post set up here for Easy Company, and this building here, as depicted in Band of Brothers, where they all gather around the little map and Winters gets given his mission to go take out the gun positions, well, that happened right here behind me. So Winters had received his orders. Before he actually took the men out, he would go on a little reconnaissance, but it would only be a very short time before Winters and his men headed out along these hedgerows right here behind me, out to the gun positions in the fields behind us by Brecourt Manor, in what is now a famous assault here, led by Winters on D-Day. So Winters was simply told, there's fire along that hedgerow, take care of it. So he went out initially at about 8:30 in the morning to do a little bit of reconnaissance on the area out there. He could see the position of the German guns set up in these fields behind me. Now, unfortunately, it's private land, so we can't actually get out there into the field just now. But Winters gathered up a team of 12 men, and they headed out along these hedgerows behind me and assaulted this gun position at Brecourt Manor. Now, rather than just leading a full-on frontal assault, Winters decided that they would attack the gun positions one by one, setting up a machine gun for covering fire. Now, that's depicted in the Band of Brothers series very well. In reality, in Band of Brothers, they show that lasting a very short period of time, but the assault here actually went on for hours, and there was a good couple of hours of fighting going on here as Winters led the men of Easy Company from gun to gun, taking out this position. Ultimately, they had a huge amount of success. The position was destroyed, no doubt saving countless lives on Utah Beach, just a short distance from here, where these guns at Brecourt Manor were firing on the troops landing at Utah Beach. For his efforts here at Brecourt Manor, Richard Winters was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. Now, as we know, 6th of June was just the start of this war for Dick Winters. Here at Brecourt Manor, he led the assault on the guns. It would only be 4 days later that he would be leading Easy Company into Kerentan and on from there. But today was about D-Day, and we followed in the footsteps of Dick Winters. I hope you guys found this video interesting. I really enjoyed making it, moving from spot to spot, following the places and walking in the footsteps of Dick Winters on D-Day. If you did enjoy it, do me a favour, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Stick around for future videos. Guys, thank you very much for watching. See you on the next video.